Hey, what to do? What's up, your girl G here. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a good Father's Day weekend. It is Monday, starting a fresh new week. But nonetheless, like I said, Father's Day weekend to all the good fathers out there, the good fathers out there. I repeat, the good fathers out there. You know, the ones that actually pick up their kids from practice, the ones that actually take their kids to doctor's appointments, the ones that actually feed their kids and do their kids' homework, you know, with them, the ones that actually do nighttime routine, you know, those type of fathers, you know, not the ones that are just present and, you know, just paying for bills and, you know, just at the house, you know, not those. Those aren't the ones we're talking about, okay? You know, you Iman Shumperts of the world, and then father had the nerve of Father's Day to come past the same week and that you out here telling Tiana that you want to pay a certain amount for your kids. We gonna talk about that in another video though. But I done went off on a rant going after these dudes already. But it's quite necessary because a lot of you dudes out here really be trying to give yourself a lot of credit. Because most dudes out here is trash, so you feel like just because you do the eensy tiniest little bit of thing that you deserve, you know, Gold Star Father of the Year award. And let me tell you, not. All right. But to get into Love and Marriage Huntsville with a few of these nucleus who think they are, you know, Gold Star fathers because they pay the bills. Yeah, we're gonna get into Love and Marriage Huntsville. This episode got me, I am really heated with Martell, Marsaue, per usual. So let's not waste no time. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So we pick up where we left off with Tisha and Stormy going back and forth. You know, Stormy with her blonde wig, you know, basically was looking at Tisha like, well, what the did you mean by pop some pills, okay? And Tisha was like, well, Tisha really just overcorrected here. She was going so full force at Stormy and Nell, like she was trying to create a beef just to get to the point of being able to ask or say, well, I'm frustrated with you and, you know, girl, you sent me RSVP. And or no, because Nell was like, girl, y'all going back and forth, fine then, F it, like y'all don't like each other, then do it, like the F it then. And then Tisha's like, well, RSVP to our party. And so everyone was like, well, what the fuck is all this then? All the ladies was like, so Tisha, even Kimmy was like, girl, have you not noticed every single conversation you've had today has gone sideways? Like, what is going on? And I think Tisha just could not allow herself to simply just be cool with Stormy to extent of be like, let me pull you to the side. I think because she was so nervous about the fact that she bucked up at her at the reunion that she felt like it had to be an issue for, you know, the conflict to happen and to actually get to the root of the issue that she had with Stormy, which simply was, girl, you sent me this invitation and we didn't end off on good terms. We didn't end on a good note. So for me to just randomly get this party invitation is weird as, you know? And that's fair. But Tisha, you also got to remember, y'all are on a reality TV show. You know how this goes. We don't like each other. We fight. I ain't going to see you till we all get to this event. And then that's where we hash it out. But if that's not what you wanted to do, okay, like as the boss, is that Boston? What is that? Is that Boston due to, what is that? That ain't Boston. Baltimore, that's what it is. I'm like, it started with a B, Baltimore, you know, because you know, Tisha, it just simply, all you had to do was pull Stormy to the side and be like, girl, you gave me this invitation, but I want to speak to you. This would have been the perfect event to just pull her to the side and speak to her at, like, what? And so then Nell gets into it, and with Tisha was like, girl, what the like, then you doing it here at this party or whatever? And she was like, it's too much. And then Tisha, she clearly was a little tipsy because when Nell just asked her like, okay, what is up? She was like, well, what do you mean? I mean, why is it me saying this? Like, Tisha was so flustered. So finally, even Stormy and all the other ladies get up. Nell and Tisha sit down because Tisha was like, Nell, I want to talk to you next then. You know, because I just want to talk to you, because she said, she was like, oh, well, go speak over there to Stormy then and hash it out. She's like, no, Nell, the person I want to talk to is you. So then she basically tells Nell, long story short, that she felt some type of way that when, y'all remember a little bit back when Tisha, Marsaue, they was posting, they were posting kind of like every other week. It was, them with Kimmy and Nell and Chris. Like, it was clear that they were either, taking a vacation a year or two, out there, or they were just, hanging out or whatever. And Tisha took it as her and Nell were building a relationship. Also, I'm sure not just out, for the show, but outside of the show, clearly. But when people started, keyboard warriors started basically kind of like riding Nell about, being cool with Tisha, I guess she, backpedaling popped, and Tisha didn't appreciate that. Nell kind of, topped it off with the, I'm just a mentor. And it's like, Tisha was like, but you not like, I thought this was like, you not my mentor, But she was like, well, bitch, you just told Trisha over there too that like, I'm a mentor. So which one is it? And it's like, you're both. Let's be real. Like, because Nell is older, there is going to be a little bit of like, just a hierarchy of like respect. But Nell, we not gonna sit here and act like also too, just like, this is just on the grand scheme of things, like there was a relationship being built there. And Nell didn't stand on it, and Tisha got her feelings hurt. Tisha is sensitive, y'all. Sensitive. Okay, she is sensitive. And so, having Nell do that, I'm sure she already feels super secluded with not having that many women friends. And then, always getting, attacked because of, the millimeters, or just like because of her husband. Like, Tisha be going through it on this show. So I will give her, that much. But, it was clear, like, her feelings was hurt the way Nell tried to, like, distance herself. It's like, bitch, if you're gonna be my friend, like, be my friend out loud too, not just behind the scenes. So they basically, reconcile, or, like, remedy it or whatever. And they said they cool. But at this time, Marsaue's over there speaking to Stormy and Courtney. And Marsaue was like, bitch, we just confused. Like, we didn't end on a good note. And Stormy's like, well, we good. Like, we ain't the one with the problem. Like, that's why we invited you to the party. He was like, well, we just operate differently because, like, this is weird to us. She's like, why is it weird? He was like, y'all had some energy. Stormy's like, I didn't have no energy. Now, Stormy, this is what I'm going to call Cap, because you definitely had some energy for Tisha, and y'all both was, tussling. Y'all was having a nice little tennis match at the reunion. So it is fair to just simply be like, this, it's a little bit weird. But in the sense of like what Marsaue is saying, it's like, Tisha just wanted a conversation before the party, and that's where Tisha should have spoken up. Like, just like Nell told Tisha over there, like, girl, if you had a problem with me, don't sit there and, like, not say nothing. Shit, she's like, if Mel had a problem with me, she called me up on it. She's like, well, I'm not Mel, I'm Tisha. And it's like, well, bitch, you sitting there letting stuff, you trying to slide it on the rug and let shit slide, but the whole time, you see me, you faking it like you cool with me, and like you all right, but really deep down you got a problem. And then you start causing random like fights and shit to actually get to the part that you really pissed off at me. Like just go ahead and say something. And then also too, I'm gonna go back to the subs because Nell called it out too. She's like, bitch, like, you had all this time before we even got to filming. If you had a problem, like, you could have said something. And the same thing goes for Stormy and Tisha. Like, I don't know why Tisha also is acting like Tisha, you're not you're the main character in your life. Like, you have some power in this situation. If you want to call somebody up and talk to them about an issue you have, do that shit. Like, don't just be sitting here like, just backpedaling, and then all of a sudden you jumping out like raw, and even though you might have a valid point, It's just wrong timing and wrong approach, which is what happened at this party. But yeah, so Stormy and Courtney basically tell Marsaue like this was an olive branch. Essentially, that's what this party invitation was. So then yeah, we move on. Next we have what happened after that? I'm trying to think of the order that everything happened. Oh, okay, so Chris wants to check in on Martell basically after the party. You know, the party did end on a good note. Nell, her little freaky ass jumping up on Chris. Boy, she had them old hips moving on him, okay? Freaky, he's a 69 guy. I don't know, I thought of that freaky, okay? She was over there all up on Chris. Over there bumping and grinding. I done seen nothing wrong. So, yeah, Chris went to check on Martell. Martell come, and they start, you know, basically chatting about the party. And Courtney was like, yeah, you wasn't there. And Martell basically was like, yeah, I was invited. You know, Nell picking sides or whatever. That's all Martell wants to sit there and call this situation. Oh, picking sides, you picking sides. It ain't about picking sides, Martell, of it being a Melody versus Martell. It's picking sides versus right and wrong. And Martell, unfortunately, your ass 9 times out of 10 is wrong. Like, it's dead, not even just wrong, but dead ass wrong. Like, you want to sit here and act confused as to why people are not fucking with you when you know you did what you did. You sent that woman a threat about revenge, okay? And you even knew that it was a bad move, so much so that you even texted her saying, I know this may, you know, come back on me, and I know this, you know, may not end well, but leave me alone, quit bullying me. Melody ain't the one bullying you. Let's get something straight. Melody's not bullying you. You're upset because, I mean, Melody does have a fan base, but every time you do something, that's when you get reactions. You got a reaction because you did the interview with Tasha K. You went and sat there and tried to do all that, you know, that talking about how Melody had a side dude. I wasn't the only one. And then you want to bring up how all that's like, then you want to post videos of Melody, you know, putting lighter fluid all on your couch and stuff. Like, nobody has, when you've done those things, from what I can recall, Melody ain't instigating none of that shit, like, at all. Like, you're just doing things because Martell is so desperately needs for other people to be just as shitty of a human being as he is, and just as, you know, messed up as him. Sorry, y'all, if it got a little dark. I'm recording over here by my window, and the sun just literally hid behind the trees. But he so desperately needs for, you know, him not to be the only one that's messed up in the equation. But yeah, like, it's not about a male versus Martell thing. That's what you keep missing, idiot. It's about right versus wrong. And then you want to get mad at Chris talking about, oh, when he was like, well, you know, what did Nell say to you? And he was like, she just asked me, you know, and I gave my opinion. And my opinion was like, I said, whatever your decision is, like, I'ma support it. And so Courtney was like, well, can't y'all be in the same room? You know, y'all can be in the same room with each other, right? Like, ain't no restraining order. You see Martell answer the question. Martell was like, restraining order? Man, nah. Like, and then he looked at Chris Fletcher, and he was like, why you looking at me? He's like, because I'm trying to see the bullshit you about to say. You know, you just like Maurice and Marsaue always want to come at me talking about, oh, why you do the interview? Why you do this? Man, nah, like, you don't want to hear that what people keep telling you, which is to stop, Martell. Like, that's what you are not understanding. You want to talk about, oh, I've been trying to wave the white flag. No, you haven't. Because if you have, you would have stopped by now. But you're not, because you're pissed off because you can't keep your dick in your pants, and it blew your marriage, and because you were convinced that Melody was going to stay, not only because y'all have businesses and homes and everything together, but kids. Let's keep it real. You know how these niggas view about society and how kids is the lockdown, all right? Kids are the safety net, especially with having the one that y'all did, the last one, Little Mama, Sugar Mama, or whatever. Martell thought that was going to be his safety net. And when Melody said, no, God said go, Okay, she put them track shoes on, out of there. Okay, now Martell over there stuck over there with not a house, a home, a pot to piss in, no money, empty-handed, over there looking like, looking like I don't know what to do. And then want to sit there talking about, oh, you know, it had a nerve to put that shit with Chris in the confessional, talking about, oh, you know, I'm so tired of it. Like, you know, when you got a real friend in the situation, nigga, you ain't nobody real friend. You is nothing but a leech. Somebody who takes advantage. You ain't Chris's real friend, because if you was Chris's real friend, he wouldn't have to damn near call the police to kick you out of that house that you was squatting in. You was full on taking advantage of Chris. You wasn't no real friend in that situation. He literally had to come to you and be like, yo, what's up? And you wanted to threaten him, talking about, oh, I ain't forgot about that, Martell. We ain't forgot about it. Talking about, oh, so you, that's what you want to see? I'm me living in a hotel, you know, with my kids. You gonna kick me out? Like, where my kids gonna go? Like it's like he didn't give you 8 months to figure that shit out. Like, Martell, you are loco, okay? And that's the reason why you in the situation you ain't now. Then he would talk about, oh, you know, it's no reason why we can't be together, or whatever. He was like, man, we've been in the room many a times and not had no problem. Where? Literally every single last time you and Melody been together. Where was the playback? That was the moment that y'all was supposed to roll that beautiful beam footages, okay? Where was the playback? Because what the you mean? It's always been an issue, because here it is, you're still convinced and trying to tell people that Melody also had a side dude, which brings us to the next scene of Trisha training Martell. Long story short, Trisha also wanted to approach Martell about, why the fuck was you acting funny? Like, why you acting like we don't know each other? Now his thing was, oh, you know, you just look different. You know, I just, you know, I wasn't expecting that. But then, like, as they go on through the training process, Martell really keeps trying to, like, I don't know, like, he's not necessarily dropping hints, but he keeps doing like little shady, slick little comments that are like alluding to something either happening between him and Trisha, or potentially could have happened between him and Trisha. Because one of the things where, you know, they were just catching up, and he was like, you know, talking about Nell, and she's like, oh yeah, I know Nell, you know, whatever, at the party, when she was talking about what happened at the party or whatever. And Nell and Mel and them all questioning her or whatever. Oh no, what came first? About how, oh, the side chick conversation, that's what it was. And then that came up. And then it's like, when it came to Chris, he was like, yeah, you know, that's my mom's like cousin or something. And when Martell started laughing, I clearly was an inside joke of, you know, like, oh, you know, Chris almost introduced me to her, you know. And it was like, so how would Chris almost introduce you to her, and when was this potentially? Like, that's where it's like, I feel like Martell is purposely trying to drop dimes on Trisha to make her be in a situation that's a little bit shady, because because Martell's shady. Martell is literally on a mission to make sure everybody else's shit stink just as much as his. Which is why also y'all see, I don't know if y'all caught it, some y'all caught it, Martell was back on that bullshit, snitching on Marsaue. When he was talking to Trisha, like, and she was like, yeah, I know Marsaue. He was like, oh, for real? She's like, yeah, you know, like way back when, like, you know, I used to, my sister used to work with him. He was like, oh, up at the thing? And she was like, yeah, you know. He was like, oh, so you used to go to them parties. And she's like, what parties? Like, he's like, oh, so you know what the parties? He said, I guess that's good then, because Marsaue would have got you. She's like, what do you mean he would have got me? No, he wouldn't have. And I was like, here we go, Martell with the bullshit, talking about the parties. He said, yeah, Marsaue used to have parties up there, let the girls come up there for free or whatever. He knew what he was doing. Martell, this whole scene, his whole gist of this scene was to make somebody else look just as bad as him. Martell, no matter what you try to throw on everybody else, you're still going to be in the same shitty situation. Time for you to go sit on somebody's couch and work through your issues, okay? Stop projecting. So then, yeah, at the end of Latricia and his training, they start getting into, her and Ken or whatever, and explaining how she's married but separated, and Martell, his eyes just started gleaming. It's okay, you got a side dude. She's like, no, he's not a side dude. He's like, but you married, right? She's like, well, I'm separated. He's like, yeah, just like Nell, she tried to say the same thing, that we wasn't together. Shoot, we wasn't even talking about divorce. Nigga, shut up. Melody had moved out and got her own apartment at this time. Stop playing, Martell. Melody moved. Stop playing, Martell. Like, that's the nigga does that pisses me off. Like, everybody knows at some point, yes, sometimes divorces take a long time. So some of these people may be separated for years, right? And don't even be together. But, because he want to be able to say on technicality, oh, like, you cheated. No, I didn't cheat. We weren't together. Yeah, we got papers, but nigga, ain't nobody cheating. Like, let's not. That whole gym scene, every time Martell was doing everything he can and to throw some dirt on somebody else, so he wasn't, like, he knows that he's the black sheep of all this whole crew. But yeah, so Trisha, she's gonna be at the party. Martell, he nervous because he on dad bod mode, and he ain't been working now. He's like, yeah, I've been going to the gym. I said, oh really? Shoot, you said all during pandemic you was at the gym. Remember? Remember, Martell? Now all of a sudden you ain't got no dad bod. I thought Ariana Close was your gym. That's what you said. And shoot, right now you living with the gym, so why is the body not representing that, Martell? So moving on, Tisha and Marsaue speak. Basically, Tisha, just kind of speaks to him about what happened at the party, and kind of feeling like, she needed to stick up for herself. Tisha has always felt like, dang, like, people, taking my kindness for weakness. And I think she, in some aspect, yes, just a teensy little bit. But I don't think in regards to it's really the women taking her kindness for weakness. I think she projects that onto them. And it's really Marsaue who takes your kindness for weakness. I think that's really what it is. Tisha has all the smoke for the women that she should have for her husband. But before we get to that, I totally forgot when Marsaue came in, they started talking about Kimmy. Speaking of, like, Kimmy's never approached Tisha in the aspect of like, oh, she be taking my kindness for weakness. Now, they did the playback, and granted, Kimmy did say, girl, I would not be your friend, because Tisha, like, you needy, all right? But that wasn't like I'm gonna keep picking on this girl because, she weak type situation. That was Kimmy having a true and open, honest conversation with you. And she is just concerned that in this situation, in regarding to getting the business with her, she does not want to take that step back. And I feel like, don't get in business, don't do it. Don't do it. Marsaue, all the thing, okay? F up all the church's money, all right? So don't do it, Tisha. Just don't do it. But back to it, she's like, people be taking my kindness for weakness. And of course, Marsaue, his thing is, oh, don't get in the dirt with them. I don't make you, better than them or whatever. And so she was like, at the party, yeah, it just comes to like, oh, it's liquid courage. Just like, no, this is me, this is Tisha. And so then he started getting to her on a thing of like, well, Tisha, let me just make a suggestion. Maybe time for accountability. And she was like, accountability or whatever. She's like, I don't want to hear that shit right now, Marsaue, like, for real. He was like, fine then. She was like, you don't think I'm accountable? And he was like, no, Tisha, like, you're very defensive. And the thing is, Tisha, you are. Like, you are very sensitive. You're very defensive. You just like your mama. You don't know how to be friends with women, very much so, because your mama, unfortunately, just the way that you were raised with Wanda, you see all women as competition. You see all women as something to, go up against, or like they just gonna be fake bitches, till I die type situation. And I think it really is unfortunate that Tisha does lose a lot of, good female friendships, partly because of herself, partly because of her husband. He don't want her to have none. But I think that Tisha is struggling with finding a voice for herself. And so she feels like, oh, the voice I need is the voice against other women. When no, the voice you need is the voice against your husband. Because the real voice that you want to be able to say is all the shit that he keeps throwing on your lap as to be the wife and the mom, the stay-at-home mom and take care of the kids. You don't want that shit, right? You want your office built and you want to be out the house. But you're not saying nothing, right? Your husband's taking your kindness for weakness because you wanted to be in that house by now and you're not in that house and you're not bugging him about it. You wanted to have that office. You ain't got no office. And I'm sure you're not bugging your husband about it because you feel like, oh, he's got a lot of stuff he got to need. You are being kind to your husband. And that's who's taking advantage of it. You worried about the wrong people, Tisha. Let's really talk about the issue that you have. It's not with the women. It's with your husband. Then when he want to sit there and talk about accountability, first of all, right message, wrong messenger. Because Marsaue... accountability in Marsaue, psych. But also, as Tisha was right in the aspect of like, Marsaue enjoys calling Tisha out in front of people. She's like, you always want to say something like in front of people, like, dang, it always feels like you coming after me. And in some aspects, like, Marsaue doesn't know how to do what Courtney be doing, like in front of people, have my back, because Tisha sure does have yours, Marsaue. In front of people, it's, my man. And I think that's what it's not bad for her to have that expectation out of you as a husband. She wants you to do the same for her, and I think that's also another thing that bugs Tisha, because it's like, damn, like, you say, want to call me out when I'm wrong or whatever, and that I'm not accountable. And it's like, okay, you want to always say that, but I think Tisha is expecting Marsaue to do for her what she does for him, which is, I don't say shit. I don't call you out. Like, she wants him to return that favor, and it just don't happen because, unfortunately, Tisha, your husband don't respect you. That's the real conversation. But moving on. The house looked nice though. He renovating it so it'll appease you for the moment, because you ain't getting that house, Tisha. Sorry. But last but not least, y'all, Mel pulls up on Marsaue because y'all know Mel told Tisha, look, your husband really got me f***ed up. She sits down with Marsaue, basically it's like, yo, what's up? When people come to me about you and Tisha shit, when it came to the lawsuits and everything, your girl was over here tight-lipped. But you, on the other hand, what the f*** is up? He was like, well, Melody, if you don't know, when things go on with you and Martell, by proxy, basically, it comes to us, and it's like, we're involved. It was so much involved that, people thought it was me that got arrested. So I had to, say something. She was like, first of all, don't know how that's a mix up, but whatever. If that's the case, there's a such thing as being able to like clear your name and not still be involved in the bullshit. Like, you literally put out a statement, and then it was so funny because you tried to act like he didn't know what she was talking about when she was like, yeah, the statement that you put out, and she was quiet, and he was like, she's like, you know the statement. He was like, looking like, nigga, like, Marsaue pisses me off because he and Martell do have that same thing where they try to sit there and act like they don't know that the person is calling them out on the shit that they know that they need to be called out on. But it's like, as long as I act like I don't know, then you don't know. But I know that you know that I know that you know that I'm on some bull. Like, that's how both of them operate. They just sit there, and Martell, he lied. Know he telling a lie, and know that the people know he lying. It's like, it's so crazy. But Marsaue, he like to play the bullshit of like, of like plausible deniability. You know that you didn't have to say shit, but you did, because he snitched on himself. He was like, well, first things first is, the guy was a friend. Oh, somebody saw, oh, because it was a friend. Right. Guess what? I had friends, still quiet. So he was like, well, I even got proof. I just simply said, whatever it is, I pray for all parties involved. I even got the screenshot. Melody's like, okay, pull it up. But little Marsaue forgot. He didn't forget. He just, thought it was a little kiki kaka like he loved to do. Marsaue loved the joke, but then the jokes be the truth. At the bottom it said, but for real though, free Martell. Oh, really? Free Martell. Oh, all right. You in the horse you rode in on, Marsaue, because you know the shit that this man has put me through. Period. Point blank. And you know that nigga is unhinged, but it's free Martell though. So you know what? Free fucking Tisha, because we know Tisha over there struggling boots, and she be trying to save your reputation by going along with what you say to prove that you man of the house and you a good husband, and that you doing a good job. But the only thing you doing a good job is leading y'all straight to hell, which is what a lot of you niggas do. Lead women straight to hell. So that's where the episode ended with Mel being like, oh, for real, did free Tisha? Because this, bro. Like, you didn't have to say nothing at all. Especially, you want to put, well, I mean, it wasn't nothing real, no real DV. Like, that's how those men were thinking in their mind. But it's like, y'all didn't even want, like, you could have said shit like Skull to just wait and see what it was that Martell actually got arrested for. This nigga got a restraining order him now because he does not know when to stop. Period. So, yeah, that was the end of the episode, you guys. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all tell me what you feel about Tisha and her getting into it with Stormy. Do y'all feel like Tisha was valid in her, response to Stormy invitation? What you guys feel about Trisha and Martell? Do y'all feel like something happened with Martell and Trisha? When it comes to Tisha, do you guys feel like that Marsaue was right to call her out on not being able to be accountable? And do y'all think Tisha is really feeling like the ladies is who take her kindness for weakness, or Marsaue? And last but not least, when it comes to Melody, y'all feel like Melody has a right to be upset at Marsaue, for saying free Martell? Like, does she have a right to be upset? I appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and I will catch y'all hoes later. Deuces.